I'm telling you, most Americans, and by most Americans, I mean mostly so-called white Americans, they get upset. They get upset when they see my talks. They get all sorts of negative emotions when I talk about the dismantling of America, the decline of America, the collapse of the United States, and so forth, the downgrading, the demotion of America as a global power. They get sad. They get hopeless. They get depressed, or they get defensive, or they get despondent. And I understand why. I understand why, because it has historically been their system. They got enough benefit from that system to make them actually believe more deeply in the myths around that system. Because of course it was a myth. It's always been a myth. It's never been anything but a myth. But they believed in it. The truth is they didn't enjoy benefits in that society because of democracy and freedom. They enjoyed benefits in that society because of mass murder. They enjoyed benefits in that society because of pillage, because of slavery and piracy and exploitation, and because of war and brutality. But they always thought that Uncle Sam was on their side, you see? They thought that they were the favorite nephew of their Uncle Sam. So when they see Uncle Sam, or when they hear me talk about Uncle Sam being amputated piece by piece, it grieves them. You understand me? So I understand why the erosion of America, or the erosion of the myth of America, I understand why that bothers them, and why they get all up in arms about it. I understand it. I understand why they get depressed. I understand why their feelings get hurt. There is no more indoctrinated people. There's no more brainwashed and no more psychologically and culturally misprogrammed people on the face of this earth than so-called white Americans. I've talked about that before. Like I say, the marauder mentality, the lack of development and so on, the lack of civilization and what have you. The overwhelming majority, the truth of the matter is, the overwhelming majority of them throughout history have only ever been serfs, and they're still serfs until today. And the truth of the matter is that they don't actually have a stake in that system either. They don't have a stake in the system either. The system doesn't care about them either. That's the fact. But to one extent or another, they have benefited from it, and more importantly, they identify with it, right? When the United States sends someone to the moon, they'll say, "We landed on the moon." When the U.S. attacks another country, they'll say, "We are at war. We are at war." When they talk about the American economy, they say, "Our economy," and so on. It's like a fan of a sports team or something. The fan of a sports team who imagines that he has some kind of a share in it anytime that team wins a game. You see, they identify with the American project as their project. So when that project degrades, they identify that degradation with themselves. It's personal. They take it personally. There's a sense of loss. There's a sense of disappointment. There's a sense of panic. But like I said before, what's happening in America is the onshoring of previously offshore colonization and extraction. And that's going to be applied across the board to all demographics. The neoliberal economic programs that they used to use to plunder countries all across the global south are now being applied at home, and that's going to intensify, and no one is going to be spared. You need to know that. No one is going to be spared. No one is going to have, protected hands-off status, because this is not being done for the sake of America. It's being done for the sake of a national capital. It's being done for the sake of the national owners and controllers of global financialized capital who have completely untethered themselves from any sort of nationalism. They've untethered themselves from any sort of patriotism or any sense of investment in the old obsolete priorities of the American power structure. Well, who depended on that power structure all this time? What demographic depended on the power structure? Which one relied on the backing of that power structure all this time? Who's been the priority? What demographic group has been the priority of the power structure all this time? Who's always actually had the real protected, the real privileged status in that society? That's going away. Look, when I go through my comment section, who do you think I see? Who do you think I see most often talking about, "I have to get out of this country. I'm planning on moving out of this country"? Who do you think is melting down? Who do you see having meltdowns on social media, in public, screaming at their phone camera, crying at their phone camera, yelling, weeping, begging for someone to come, for anyone to come and save them, begging for someone to come and fix things, to lead them, to rescue them? Well, you obviously know who it is. You know which people are doing that. It's the same people who never built anything for themselves. It's the same people who never had to build anything for themselves. I'm not saying this as a put down. Understand, I'm not saying this as a put down. It's just another data point. This is what I'm telling you. It's another data point. I'm saying that the way that that country is going, the direction that that country is going, the skill set of the oppressed is going to have a massive advantage over the skill set of the privileged. And like I say, again, this is when you see that hunter-gatherer mentality, that marauder mentality. I have to get out of this country, you see? Let me get my passport and go somewhere else. If I'm not going to get my privileges, if I'm not going to get my comfort, if I'm not going to have my convenience catered to, then let me get out of here. Let me go elsewhere. Greener pastures, you understand? Scavengers. There's no patriotism. There's no nationalism. There's privilegism. There's get-mineism. They'll drop that country. They'll drop that country the same way that their elites are dropping that country. You know, I mentioned before that JFK quote. I've talked about it a few times. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Well, when he said country, he didn't mean you. He didn't mean African Americans. He didn't mean Latino Americans. He didn't mean Arab Americans or Asian Americans or Muslim Americans or anybody else. Country here refers to one specific demographic. Means ask not what white people can do for you, ask what you can do for white people. Yes, that's what it meant. That's what it means. Like I said, they identify with the country and they identify the country with them. And that's the only reason why they identify with the country. That's the only reason why they actually identify with the country, because the country has always meant them. So the minute it does not mean them, they're booking their flights out.